July time frame until just a couple months ago, all right, in about a 3 to 4 month time period, he went 20K, 50K, 100K, 200K. Now this went from a guy who did not know how to do this, couldn't do it, was frustrated, ready to quit, to 200K. And the reason I tell you that is because all you guys are out there trying to reinvent your own systems, or you're not doing the system, or whatever the case is. And if the system didn't work, I promise you this, we wouldn't do it. I mean, I'm not in this business just to create systems. That's not what we want to do. But I learned a long time ago, 8 years ago when I got started in this industry, I stunk at it. I still do, but I try real hard. But I was terrible at it, and I hated it. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. I joined the business because I felt guilty for a friend of mine. I'm like, all right, 500 bucks, here goes. I'm donating to the cause. But it was just the right time in my life, and I paid attention long enough to know that this was something that could change people's lives in Charlotte. This is 8 years ago. And then fast forward a couple years later, I got introduced to a better model. We started running with that model, and I still had virtually no success. A year into the deal, I had quit probably 15 times. I quit. I swore it off. I said, I'm not doing it. I'm not showing up another training, another meeting. I spent all this money. I'm not making any money. This is just ridiculous. It's all true. And I went one more time to a meeting, and the guy said, listen, you just got to get with somebody who understands how to do this, and then quit being you. And I'm like, well, is that an insult? Like, what do you mean quit being me? He said, you got to quit being you and start just doing what's successful. Because see, I was taking that whole play that they were running, I was like, I came from corporate America. And they ran this little play, it looked like, you know, it was created by a 5A high school football coach. No offense. All right, but this guy turned 2-syllable words into 3. And I'm like, I can do way better than that. And I started creating something, but here was the problem. I could do it, but guess who couldn't? Everybody else. And I said, as long as I showed up, people were getting into business. But if I wasn't showing up, guess what wasn't happening? Nobody was doing anything. They were waiting for me to come back to do the party or the meeting or whatever it was. And so all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I get it. And we flipped the switch. You guys, over the course of the next 18 months, I went from about 100 people in my business to a little over 15,000. From there, we went to a little over 30,000. And from there, it's been nothing but a rocket ride ever since. Why? Yeah, well, I didn't give up. I just wasn't smart enough to. But it became duplicatable and it became simple. So simple that I thought it was too simple. I saw it as too simple. This can't work. All right? And Jessica's going to come up a little later and talk to you, and I guarantee you, here's what she's going to say. All we did was what he did. And then Kyle Helm will come up and say, all I did was what Jessica did. And then on and on and on and on down the line. And guess what? If you look at those people and where they are versus where the others are, there's an answer somewhere in there. And for most of you, it will be too simple. And so I started training, and I just said, you know what, let's go back to the basics of this whole deal. And I'm going to tell you the story of the one team and all that stuff. But for most of you, this is more important. How many of you know you can build a championship team around a player? Does everybody believe that? Or a couple of players? Kobe Bryant, Shaq. You can. The guys down in Miami,